I don't feel I need to explain why I love Smash Brothers. It's got great gameplay, amazing music, excellent graphics, and of course, the roster, the reason we're all playing. However, I sometimes feel that the hype season for Smash is actually more enjoyable than Smash itself. Don't get me wrong, the games are awesome, but there's nothing like seeing that icon pop up on screen during a direct, followed up by your favorite character. However, like most Smash fans, I can always think of more things to ask for. Today, I'll be going through my ideal Fighters Pass 2 for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. To lay down some ground rules, this is not a prediction, but I did try to keep my picks reasonable. In addition, I'll be working with what we already know. 6 characters, released over the course of 2 years, with Fighter number 1 being a representative from ARMS. With that being said, let's begin. So we know that sometime in June we're going to get some kind of presentation revealing that our first new character from ARMS is someone. We don't know who it is, but I'm willing to bet it's Min Min for a couple of reasons. My first reason is that Min Min won the Finale Party Crash Bash, which is essentially an ARMS Splatfest. This just goes to show how popular she is within the ARMS community. Another reason is that in addition to the typical punching you can expect from an ARMS character, Min Min also uses her legs for kicks, which surprisingly really expands the moveset potential for the character. I'd expect her to have attacks involving all types of arms, but specifically her Dragon and Megawatt arms. As far as spirits go, there's a lot of characters in ARMS that could make for interesting spirits, but considering how versatile Spirits as a game mode is, and how few ARMS characters aren't in Smash, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the whole roster that isn't already a Spirit. As far as the stage goes, again there's a lot of options because every character in ARMS has a stage, but I'd really like to see the Sky Arena or the Ribbon Ring. As for stages I don't want to see, really the only one is actually Min Min's home stage, the Ramen Bowl. I really don't like the idea of another bowl-shaped stage. As for music, again I'm willing to bet we get every character's theme, but I want to specify that we need to get Ribbon Girl's theme because that is the best song on VOST. With that being said, let's move on to my pick for character number 2. Dante is one of the most commonly requested characters for Smash Ultimate, and I totally understand why. In fact, he's my most wanted character for Smash Ultimate. We already know he'd be a perfect fit for a fighting game like Smash, considering he came from a character action game and later got ported into a fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. However, unlike Marvel 3, I would have Dante be based off of his Devil May Cry 5 look, with an alternate costume based off of Devil May Cry 3. I'd have him use a variety of tools from Devil May Cry 5, including Cavalier, King Cerberus, and even the Kalina Ann, but his most unique tool would be his style switching mechanic. I'm not really sure how they could pull it off, but I would make it so that Dante can switch between his 4 styles, Trickster, Gunslinger, Swordmaster, and Royal Guard, on the fly to change his special moves. For the final Smash, there's plenty of moves that could fill that spot, but for my taste, I would use the Double Jackpot from Project Cross Zone 2. Dante calls in Virgil for an assist, and they wail on the opponents, before finishing them off with the iconic finishing move from Devil May Cry 3. As for spirits, there's plenty to pull from, but just for an example, you could always have Virgil, Lady, Trish, V, Nero, Lucia, and the legendary Dark Knight, Sparta. For stages, there's really not that many choices in Devil May Cry. The only option that's really iconic enough is the Temen Negru, the setting of Devil May Cry 3. When it comes to music, Devil May Cry's got you covered. There's plenty of tracks to pull from, but specifically, the ones that are important are Devils Never Cry from Devil May Cry 3, The Time Has Come from Devil May Cry 4, and of course, Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry 5. With all that being said, let's move on to my choice for character number 3.
What the?
Rex?
I know that Rex and Pyra are a pretty common pick, and it's understandable why. I mean, every character that's been added since Terry has poked holes in the reasoning for why they weren't in the base roster. I'm perfectly okay with that, because they were one of my primary picks for who should have been a shoo-in from the start. I know that the topic of how they would play was kind of divisive, but the way I've always seen it is that they'd be some kind of reverse Pokemon trainer, with Rex in the forefront handling attacks and Pyra in the background providing support and occasionally coming in for a more powerful move. I know that a fairly popular YouTuber, Delzethin, made a pretty good video on how Rex and Pyra should play. I recommend checking that out once you're done here. As for the other content in the Fighter's Pass, there's plenty of locations in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that would make amazing stages. I mean, there's the forests of Uriah and the plains of Tontal. It's a really beautiful game. But for my pick, I would choose the Alethro Ruins. It's a pretty important location in the story, as well as your main gateway to a lot of the endgame content, so players are going to be pretty familiar with it. Although it's a relatively colorless location in-game, I would make it so that other titans pass by in the background so you get a look at some other visuals. As far as new Xenoblade music goes, it's pretty difficult to go wrong, but the two main songs I'd want to see is Torna's battle theme and Roaming the Wastes, Mort Ardaine's theme. As far as spirits go, the main problem is that a fair amount of Xenoblade Chronicles 2's main cast is already in Smash as spirits. To get around that, I would pair the spirits into teams of Blade and Driver. For example, Nia and Dromark, Tora and Poppy, Morag and Brigid, Zeke and Pandoria, Adam and Mithra, and Laura and Jin. You could have other spirits, but those are the essential ones. With all that being said, let's move on to character number 4. So if you haven't played Beyond Good and Evil, don't worry, I haven't either, but Jade seems like she could make a really cool character in Smash for a couple of reasons. Don't get me wrong, I totally understand that Jade is like the least likely Ubisoft character to get in, but she'd be pretty cool. We don't have any staff characters in Smash Bros., so she'd automatically be pretty unique. Plus, with Beyond Good and Evil 2 coming out soon, right now might be a good time to get Jade back in the spotlight. As far as a stage goes, I don't really know anything about it, but from the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer, the jungle Aztec sci-fi aesthetic seems really cool. As far as spirits go, there's Jade herself, the main antagonists of the game, this swearing monkey from Beyond Good and Evil 2, and Paige, her adoptive uncle, I think, maybe? With that being said, let's move on to my choice for character number 5. Now, I know this sounds like a crazy long shot, but hear me out on this one. With Nintendo pushing more and more into the mobile game market, it would make sense to have a representative of that kind of game. And at least as far as Nintendo is concerned, the best one is Euden, easily. In addition, I think Euden has a lot of potential for a very unique moveset. From most of what I've seen, people have suggested a lot of him just shapeshifting as his primary gimmick, but I would actually focus on the co-op aspect of Dragalia Lost. In order to do this, Euden would call on assists from his main party in the game to power up his attacks. Let me explain. This would be Euden's UI. Those 4 characters in the top are his assists. When Euden uses a move that calls on another character, they pop out an attack. However, they have their own hitboxes and have their own health, so if one of them gets killed, they cannot help Euden until the next stock. For example, let's say Euden's up special is his signature move, Blazing Circlet. Normally, it's fairly weak by Smash standards. However, if Ranzel is active, he can pop in and help Euden by using his signature move, Tornado Bash. These assists apply to most of Euden's more notable moves, his specials, his smash attacks, things you'd see thrown out in a casual game. However, the character changes depending on which move you're using. Sure, Ranzel helps out on the up special, but if it's the side special, maybe Elisan helps out, or Luca helps out. It varies. This would make Euden one of the most complicated characters on the roster, but in the hands of someone who's experienced, he could wreck shop. Of course, for his final smash, he'd shapeshift into his dragon form, Midgardsormr, and blast the opponent with a bunch of wind. Think Corrin's final smash, but with air. For the stage, there's actually not very many notable locations in Dragalia Lost, but I would choose the Dragon's Roost. It's where you bond with dragons so that you can increase the amount of time you're allowed to be shapeshifted. Dragons and adventurers would make cameos in the background, some notable examples being Ramona, Iyasu, Lily, and others. Delzethin also had the idea to make their heads bob to the music like they do in the game, and I think that would work pretty well. I'll link that video. As for the music, from what I understand, it's kind of legally muddy because most of the tracks are performed by a band called Dalco. Sorry if I butchered that. But there's plenty of instrumental tracks that would be perfect, one notable one being Volk's theme. Lastly, for spirits, since it's a gacha game, there's no shortage of characters to use, but I would focus on ones that are relevant to the story or common events. For example, Cerise, Alex, Loxy, Zethia, Iyasu, Vixel, Ramona, Valerio, Kirsty, and the legend spirit being Midgardsormr. Midgardsormr would be able to evolve into High Midgardsormr, and perhaps Zethia could evolve into the other, but that's not exactly necessary. Last but not least, let's move on to my final pick for Fighters Pass 2.
I'm back!
So speaking within the context of this hypothetical Fighters Pass, I definitely got what I wanted. Dante, Rex and Pyra, and Euden are my 3 most wanted characters. I could have opted to go for some ridiculous picks like Gunvolt or Cat from Gravity Rush, but again, I wanted to stay reasonable. So I decided to go with characters that would make a lot of people happy. So while I may not be a big fan of Crash Bandicoot myself, the simple fact that this reveal would make a lot of people lose their minds means that I would still enjoy it a lot. I'm not really sure how he would play. I've joked about him just being a fast Donkey Kong, and honestly I'm okay with that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, again, I'm not really a fan of the Crash games. I do know that there's plenty of characters that can make cool spirits, like Coco, Uka Uka, Neo Cortex, and all the rest of the Crash Extended Universe characters. Really the only one that I think we need to have is the Crate from Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. As far as stages go, I know that the Crash games have a general jungle aesthetic, but honestly I think I'd rather have a stage set in one of Neo Cortex's laboratories. We have a lot of jungle stages thanks to Donkey Kong, but we don't have very many lab stages. The one thing I am certain of about Crash and Smash is that the music would be great. This series has always had some really awesome tracks, and they'd be really fun to fight to in Smash Brothers. So yeah, that's that. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. This whole YouTube channel right now is just an experiment, but I enjoyed making this, so I can't wait to see where it goes. I apologize for some of the lower quality elements, specifically the audio. I don't actually own a microphone, and I didn't want to get one if this was just going to be a one-off thing. Again, I'm new to YouTube. I had to figure out how to use all the software that I used for this video, and I wanted to make sure that it was still relatively high quality while managing to get it out before June so I don't miss out on all the ARMS discussion. I've got plenty of video ideas stirring around in my brain, but if you guys have any suggestions for something you'd like to see me do, or want to just discuss the Hypothetical Fighters Pass, just let me know in the comments below. I don't know when to expect or what to expect from the next video. I'd say sometime in June I'll try to get it out, but I really want to see how this video is perceived before I move forward. Follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Dante4Smash. That's where I'll be posting updates and just my general thoughts. I want to thank you all for watching again, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good one.